What's up, everybody? It's Cool Sports Guy here. Today, we're looking into week 2 of the NFL. Got a lot of action planned for you guys. So, without further ado, I'm bringing my co-hosts, Mr. Tom. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. Excited. 1 week of football's out, so I'm ready.
Yes, it is
Ready for
official.
more.
We're on our way. Yes, sir. And without last but not least, Mr. Jarrett. How are you, sir?
It's been pretty good, pretty good.
Excellent. You excited as well as we are?
As the Bears are sitting at 1-0, I am very, very happy with that.
Not bad. It's a good start, as we will, little foreshadowing. It's a good sign for teams that win their first game. So let's just, that's foreshadowing. I used the literary term. Anyways, I'm not going to waste any time. We got the week 2 of the NFL. A lot of cool stuff happening out there. But as we all saw last week, we had a little survivor pool here for Cool Sports Guy. Didn't go so well for some of us, but let's check it out. What happened? So, Jarrett, you had the Baltimore Ravens. I gave you a gold star right there for you. Well done, sir. Baltimore over the Jets. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Not bad. Not bad. Tom, you also had similar pick right there. Another bird. Also, gold star for you, sir. Well done. We were doing pretty good there with the jackpot, except I decided to be smart about things, and I said the Panthers, the big, came so close. Thanks a lot, Mr. Mayfield. Did not work out well for us today, but that's okay. You know what? Go bold or go home, and I'm going home. So I'm not a survivor, as the song says. So, but we have a new week. Jared, you had something?
I was going to say, listen, Mayfield didn't have a great game, but I don't think the blame's necessarily on him. He did put them in a position to win. I would say it's more on their defense than it was Mayfield. They allowed, the drive at the end and, the game-winning field goal and whatnot, but I'm just going to leave that there.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good – I'm going to go with that instead, yes. You did pretty good. You got him in position, so but you know what? Not a bad game, though.
Well, you didn't pick Baker Mayfield. You picked the Panthers. So
the
defense is part of it.
I picked Mayfield. I picked the Panthers because of Mayfield. I thought he was going to do enough. But, anyways. New week, new awesomeness ahead of us. Week 2 of the Survivor Pool. Tom, I'm going to let you start us off here today. And who have you selected for us?
I know I can't pick the same team again, but after week 1, some teams may look a little too shaky and some teams may look a little better. So I decided to be smart about it. I want to get, while I can, eliminate some out of the way. Maybe I'm jumping the gun a little here, but I went with the Broncos for my survival pool pick. I think Russell Wilson will find a way to bounce back after an embarrassing loss to his previous coach and team. And the Texans, who pulled the most Texans thing possible last week, which was go up by 17 points, blow the lead, and then end the game in a tie. Who does that? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But
we've lost 21-point leads as well. So,
The what?
We've lost 21-point leads as well, but I'm not going to.
Oh, we lost 24-point leads.
24 points.
Yeah. Let's not get into get into the Texans history, but I think I think the Broncos is my lock of the week. I'm hoping to go 2-0 here, so we'll see what happens.
Not a bad, yeah. That's a good bold move right there. And for you, Mr. Jarrett.
While I do like Tom's pick quite a lot, I did not go the same direction. My picks, it was the same last week. I'm kind of going more so the injury route, and I'm basically kicking someone while they're down, and I'm going against the injured teams, which a certain team last week who didn't even look good then happened to lose their starting quarterback for quite a while. So I did pick the Bengals over the Cowboys. I don't think Cooper Rush is going to beat a Bengals team, so I think that the Bengals are my lock for the week.
A couple of teams that are also doing their bounce back game, so to speak. So against weaker opposition. Sorry, Cowboys, put you in that same. Both Texas teams too. Y'all.
I hope Cooper Rush puts up 400 yards on that team.
I'll have you know that he went 3 for 7 his last outing. Was it 4 for 8? I don't know, something really good. So yeah, not too shabby. Not bad, guys. Not bad. What good way for us to start the week right there. a lot of teams winning. And this is my little section I like to call Fun Factoid. And then I'm going to preface this. And if y'all just take me on a journey right here, let me take you on a journey. And after that, I will have a question for you guys and we'll lay that out. So in the history, in the Super Bowl era history right there, teams that win the Super Bowl, this is how they fared in their first game. So 22 past Super Bowl champions won their first game of the season. So this happened 45 times. Makes that 80% of the time right there. As far as losing your first game, 5 past Super Bowl champions started with a loss in their first game of the season. It's happened 10 times. That's 18% of the time. Only 1 past Super Bowl champion has started with a tie in their first game of the season. That's 2% of the time right there. So, in conclusion, the Texans have a 2% chance of winning the Super Bowl based on these stats, sir. Based on these stats, okay? Yeah. Holy. So, my question to you, hey, the stats never lie, sir.
Sorry.
They're very slim, okay? But you're saying there's a chance, and that's what I'm saying to you guys. 2% is still a good. So, my question to you guys, out of all the teams who lost their first game, which is a total of 16 at this point, right? Who do you think has the best chance of making a Super Bowl run? Doesn't have to go necessarily off your brackets or anything like that, but obviously a lot has changed, So I'll let whoever wants to go first. Actually, I don't know who I have first. Maybe I have Jarrett. You're going to go first. I'm sorry, man.
Okay, so I ended up with 4 possibilities here. It honestly, there were some pretty solid teams that lost week 1, whether it be an upset, certain bad weather that only affected one team. I don't know, but there were some good teams that lost week 1. But with that being said, out of all of the teams that lost week 1, I have 4 possibilities for 4 possibilities that I could actually see making a Super Bowl win and winning a Super Bowl.
I have one of your quotes right here. So if you want to, I don't know if you want me to read that for you or you want to quote that yourself.
Yeah, so one of my picks, the team's quarterback had one of the worst games I've ever seen him play. Still went in overtime against a pretty decent team, and he has all of the weapons he could ever need. I feel like that's pretty obvious who I'm talking about. If you don't know who that is the Cincinnati Bengals as one of them. I did go with them kind of on top. They made that Cinderella run last year, which honestly, the team they have this year is so much better than it was last year. They kind of credit to their GM who kind of fixed all their holes. The big thing was offensive line. They went out there and spent money this offseason to fix the offensive line. He has weapons all over the field that are insane, and their defense was great last year. Didn't really lose any pieces. It can be just as good this year. So I did go with the Bengals for my number 1 for that. I don't know if you wanted me to say my other picks or let.
I got them all 3 lined up right after. So as soon as you start, I will show them all 3.
And the other 3, I think they have a chance, as much as I hate to say it. The Green Bay Packers are one of them, the LA Rams, and the Las Vegas Raiders. I couldn't really see any other team that lost really being a Super Bowl threat this year. I know Jose's Super Bowl pick, the Broncos, I do not have on here because, I know it's week 1, but I know a Matt Nagy clone when I see one, and I don't see them as a Super Bowl contender. The Packers, they always have bad week 1s. They always usually kind of pick it up immediately after that, or if not, the later half of the season, and they're always a great team. The Rams, defending Super Bowl champs, they had an awful week 1, but I think that team is so well coached and have so much talent, they'll turn it around. And the Raiders are probably the dark horse of my picks. I'm really high on the Raiders. I know Derek Carr had a bad game. I fully expect him to turn it around. That connection with him and Devontae Adams seemed there just from right from the jump. They looked great together. And that the defense wasn't as bad. They didn't get absolutely demolished by the Chargers, who have one of the best offenses in the league. So I think that was a good sign as well. So those are my 4 picks.
Not too shabby. Seems like a pretty good selection right there. And Tom, what do you have for us? I think I have all your teams. All 4 of them are going to be just spread out as soon as you say what they are.
All right. So, well, first of all, I'm a little angry at myself for not having the Raiders on the list because of the amount of credit I've given Carr. He just said the Raiders, and I'm like, where was my brain when I was trying to pick these teams? So Little upset, especially considering that I have the Broncos actually on there, and I have, I know, I do have the Broncos bouncing back as one of the teams that could potentially do it. Do I think they're going to do it? No, not really, but they could. They played horrendous, and same thing with the Rams for all the reasons Jared just said. The Rams are one of them as well. Same thing with the Packers. I also have the Packers in there. They've lost week 1 multiple times in a row, and you see 2 MVPs from Aaron Rodgers with the number 1 seed, and one of the times they were 1 game away from going to the Super Bowl. They had another bad week 1. Rodgers did not look good at all, so we'll see how the rest of the season goes. And then lastly, I have the 49ers on there. 49ers, again, so this is what's going to happen. I think Trey Lance is going to have 2 more bad games. They're going to bench him. They're going to finally put Jimmy G in. If he can stay healthy, this 49ers team, who was able to go all the way to the NFC Championship game and had a lead in the 4th quarter, could potentially win and make it to the Super Bowl. So I got 1 team from the AFC and, surprisingly enough, 3 teams from the NFC, even though the AFC is much more stacked than the NFC is. Those are mine.
Not bad. It's a good, solid group of teams right there. And yeah, all of these had a bad first game. Which I've heard a lot on the radio today on this week posing the question: what do y'all think about the preseason right now? I know we didn't talk about this before, but preseason, is that a factor? Should they have get in, or is just first game is going to be like preseason moving forward?
I did see something. Colin Coward, I saw him. He did like a segment on it on his show. He only looked at the quarterbacks specifically, but he looked at the quarterbacks who did play in the preseason, the ones who didn't, and the record. It didn't show stats, but record-wise, basically the ones who played in the preseason looked a lot better, and their teams won as opposed to the ones who didn't play. Which I don't think they need to play like a ton in the preseason, but for a quarterback on any team to just completely sit out every single preseason game, I feel like that takes away, your ramp up period where you get like adjusted to playing other teams. And I definitely do think it is a downside. So I think that, again, there's the injury risk, but teams do need to start their players at least for like a drive or 2 in the preseason.
Kind of agree with that. Yeah, I think you can tell that week 1, a lot of these QBs, a lot of these players look a little rusty. As much as they practice, when you put on full pads and you're actually going up against opponents and actual teams, it is different with the crowd noise, with everything. So the preseason, when starting players used to start and maybe play at least half of a game, it used to kind of help them warm up into how it's going to feel like in the season, and taking that away does put your week 1 in jeopardy a lot. That's why we see all these random surprises coming through.
Yeah, for sure. And I get the whole injury aspect. I mean, obviously the season's longer, 17 games, and that takes a toll on you and everything. But there are players that are also fighting for a spot and make it through the preseason and still got to play 17 games. I think like an argument could be made for just having at least 1 game, get that timing right. You don't have
half
to
a game.
Half a game, exactly. I mean, that's it, just to get your timing, you could see how it's developing right there. Because, yeah, a lot of these teams, I think it's all about, I mean, like, you're telling me that Green Bay is going to look that bad. They lost last year the first game. Y'all remember how those started off? Same thing for LA. I don't see any of these teams you guys have here, and probably more if I could think of any more, that start off this bad and can stay this bad. I just don't see it happening, so.
I do want to ask, I don't know if you have the answer to this. Do you know how many of these teams that we have on here, if they started their quarterbacks or teams in the preseason? Because I know Green Bay didn't. Matthew Stafford didn't. So that's the Rams and Green Bay. Trey Lance did. He just looked bad in the preseason, which the only team I very much disagree with is the 49ers on Tom's list, because I don't think Trey Lance is a Super Bowl quarterback yet.
I just said it. I said he's going to get benched and Jimmy G's going to play.
I think even with that, I don't know. Jimmy G, I'm not. I think they could with Jimmy G, but I don't know. I feel like that's questionable. They seem to win despite him instead of win with him.
You're right. When he's healthy, they've only made a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship.
Which game. I said they win despite him, not because of him. They should have won a Super Bowl if he completed the pass, but I'm not going to get into that rant. I don't remember if Russell Wilson played in the preseason or Derek Carr. I don't remember Joe Burrow either, but I think Joe Burrow didn't, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he did. Yeah, Joe Burrow did. Yeah. Joe Burrow did.
I don't know why Burrow had such a bad first game then, because that was the worst game I've ever seen Burrow play.
Hangover. It's called the Super Bowl hangover.
I'm pretty sure Russell Wilson didn't play. We all know Aaron Rodgers did not play. And you said you saw Trey Lance. So I think out of all these, maybe only one probably Burrow. I don't know about Derek Carr, though. That's the one thing. That's the one guy I don't know if he did. But see how they go. Carr didn't have a terrible performance either. I forgot the score.
I don't think his was bad, but he also, I think their offensive line honestly was the big reason they lost. It wasn't like a super like close neck and neck game, but it was close enough where it was a very winnable game.
They were bringing a lot of pressure.
Khalil Mack had 3 sacks himself, and Khalil Mack I think isn't in his prime anymore, but he's still a very good player. But for him to get 3 sacks, like your offensive line obviously isn't holding up very well either.
That's fair. Be pretty fun. We'll be sure to keep a track on that. And yeah, that's a good question. Is like finding out which teams like that. And strong argument can be made. I think I heard a coach on the radio say, back in the day they used to do 1 quarter first game, second quarter, second game.
Yeah, that's how it used to be every single year.
So,
and now like teams are scared of injuries, so they don't play their starters at all and whatnot.
Just like it's a long season, so we'll see how it develops further on. But brings us to our next topic, Thursday night thinkers. I have a few fun ones for us tonight.
Calculator again?
Yes, sir. We have I'm going to do a quarterback, wide receiver, and a running back. When we start off with the big guys, Mr. MVP Patrick Mahomes versus Justin Herbert. I had a little mind blank there for a moment. I should know this guy. So what happens first? Starting here, let's go on to the next topic here. Patrick Mahomes can overtake Cam Newton and Ken Stabler in all-time passing touchdowns, moving him into 55th place all-time. Or Justin Herbert overtakes Bill Kenny, thus moving him into 130th place all-time. Obviously, he has a little bit less time in the league, but they're killing it right now on their stats. Start off with Patrick Mahomes. Currently has 156 passing touchdowns. I believe it's 5 seasons. He's been playing that 5 full seasons. Needs 39 touchdowns to surpass Cam Newton and Ken Stabler. And for his career, he averages 2 touchdowns per game. Last game probably obviously went right over the average. As far as Justin Herbert, he's got currently 72 passing touchdowns. He needs 34 touchdowns to surpass Bill Kenny. And he averages also 2 touchdowns per game. Now, I rounded down on those stats. I think they're like 2.4, 2.3. So, and they go over. I think Justin Herbert had 3 touchdown passes this past game, correct?
I do not know the number off the top of my head. I'm not going to.
I know Mahomes had 5.
Yeah,
I did know Mahomes had 5, yeah.
I played against him in fantasy. Yes, I felt every last one of those touchdown passes. So, but pretty even. I believe if you do the numbers, I think 32 touchdowns if they keep their average, right? So they're kind of within reach. They would have to go over their average per game consistently, which I think they can. These 2 strong quarterbacks. So I'll let whoever wants to take this one first proceed. Oh, by the way, I have one more stat for y'all if y'all want to know who they're. Oh no, I don't know how their teams. Sorry, guys, you don't get to know who they're playing. This is a whole season thing.
Yeah, look, I started looking at who they're playing, but then I realized that
it's a full
we're
season.
talking 30-some touchdowns. I'm not going to look through an entire season.
No, this is an entire season type of thing. Yeah, those are big numbers right there.
I'll take this first. Listen, this is almost a no-brainer to me. I have to go with Mahomes. He's my MVP pick. He just put up 5 touchdowns. People after he beat the Bills in the playoffs, for whatever reason, wants to talk about how the Bills are the better team going into this year and how, they're just kind of overlooked just a little, which blows my mind considering how amazing he has been. And yeah, I just have to. Does this stat also include the playoffs?
No, regular season only.
They're not going to need the playoffs. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
Well, he's going.
Listen, it's going to be Mahomes.
All right,
It's going to be close, but I think it's going to be Mahomes.
He would have to go So his average right there of 2 touchdowns per game gets him within 7 touchdowns. So
At the end of the season?
correct. And that's already including the 5 touchdowns from this past game. I included those in there. So
That's fine.
yeah. So this is like from game 2 all the way to the end of the season.
I think he could hit 44 touchdowns this season.
42, yeah.
Oh, without a doubt. I think. Listen, Josh Allen was my MVP pick, but I did mention it. I think I mentioned it in like the season preview thing, whatever playoff predictions. I think, and in our quarterback rankings, I also mentioned it. I think Patrick Mahomes has another level he's going to get to. I think he's going to reach that. And I know mathematically the smarter choice is Herbert because he's also a very, very good elite quarterback. But Mahomes, even just based on week 1, I know he played probably the worst secondary in the NFL or pretty close to it. They have like no cornerbacks. But Mahomes looked like he was on that other level. And I think I'm going to go with Mahomes too and agree with Tom here. We don't tend to agree on most things, but I think this one, I'm going to agree with him. I think Mahomes is a great pick for MVP. Herbert is no slouch either. I think it makes perfect sense to go with him, but I don't know. Mahomes looks like he's on that other level, and I'm gonna go with Mahomes here.
Fair enough. And you know what? I love me a good math problem, and I think I'm gonna go with the smarter choice. I'm gonna go with not smarter choice. That means y'all's choice is not smart. You know what I'm saying? What I meant was I'm gonna go with the other guy.
You don't know what you're saying.
I'm gonna go with Justin Herbert.
The mathematically accurate one.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
Is this thing on? Is my microphone on? Okay. No, yeah. So I'm going to go with Justin Herbert. I think, yeah, he's within 2 touchdowns. I think 16 games, and I believe he's more than capable. I think it's a coin flip either way. If Mahomes, which I'm thinking he can, throws 3 touchdowns a game for the rest of the season, I don't see why that's not possible, even on bad days. So we move on to our running back class right here. We have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I only went with the starting running backs, too. I do know that they have a string of running backs, but we're going to go with running back 1. Go ahead. Oh, that you had a question. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
My bad. No, yeah. Put your hands down, please. Thank you. And then we have Austin Ekeler. From this one, it's a nice little hypothetical. What happens first? Clyde Edwards-Helaire is obviously, I think, is his third season in the league right now. Does he double his average per season? Right now, he's averaging 4 touchdowns per season. Does he double it and make 8 touchdowns, or does Austin Ekeler get 8 touchdowns first and move? Now, Austin Ekeler's a little closer to the all-time list of top 250 all-time. And I believe on this one, averages 4 per season. He averages a little less than a touchdown game for his career. And the same thing for Austin Ekeler. He averages 4 per season, a little less than a touchdown game for his career. And I think on this one, I do have the teams say they were to score a touchdown each game, which they didn't. I don't think either one of these guys scored a touchdown in their first game either. So there's your 5 teams they're playing in the next 5 games, including this one.
Okay, I guess I'll start since Tom started last time. Last week when we did the running back picks, I guess we cursed them, and both of them looked like the most non-existent running backs in NFL history. Hopefully that doesn't happen this time. I don't know. This is very close for me because obviously their stats, they average the same amount of rushing touchdowns, but neither of these guys are like, I would say running backs. They're like receiving backs out of the backfield. So rushing touchdowns aren't exactly either of their things. With that being said, if we're talking only on the ground here, they both have pretty rough schedules. Like Edwards-Helaire is, the Chargers have a pretty good defense. Indianapolis is known for their defense, especially in the run game with, DeForest Buckner and Shaq Leonard. He's not scoring a rushing touchdown against Tampa Bay. They don't allow anyone to run the ball at all. They haven't for the past 3 seasons. So I think that's a rough start for him as is. And I feel like the Chargers definitely give Ekeler the ball more than Edwards-Helaire does. So I think just based on that, I'm going to go with Ekeler. I think it could go either way because, again, they both catch the ball out of the backfield a lot and are more like passing backs. But I am going to go Ekeler because I think he does get more carries than Edwards-Helaire does.
Yeah, this is a very close one, but I also went with Ekeler for the fact, looking at the teams that they're playing, I'm kind of, I think, playing the smart game here. Kansas City, Jacksonville, Houston, Cleveland, and Denver. I think it's a little easier to get some rushes in against them rather than like Buffalo and Indy and Tampa Bay. So I have to make it can go either way. It's a pretty tough decision if they're on a neutral field playing the same teams. Man, I don't know, but in this case, I got to go with Austin Ekeler.
Not bad, yeah. And as much as I love being the odd man out, I'm not going to do it this time. I'm also going to go with Austin Ekeler. I'm going to agree with you guys and just do that jackpot. All three of us go in the same direction. Austin Ekeler, yeah, I think as far as being there first, getting the 8 touchdowns first, and this is just the first 5 games, so let's say he scores 1 touchdown per game. I think he definitely is a lot closer after those 5 games than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Should be a little easier run for him. So we'll see how it goes tonight. Yes, I agree with Jarrett. Last time our running back didn't do so well, our pick. So maybe I think I'm not sure. Prize Picks has, I don't know if you guys know that gambling app, but it has Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 0.5. So you pick over under 0.5 touchdowns rushing, and it has Austin Ekeler at 0.5 either pass, rush, or receiving 0.5. So if you pick one touchdown for them for tonight, you're a winner on there. So I might put some
0.5 for pass, receive, like any one of them, or separate bets.
For Ekeler, they have him in the category where it's a passing. It says pass, rushing, or receiving. So I'm guessing if he throws a touchdown pass.
No, I'm thinking I would definitely take the over on that one. I think
that's what I'm saying.
This is going to be a shootout regardless, and Ekeler, he's going to get the ball in his hands. He's going to have.
I don't know if it's going to be a shootout, man.
I think it is. I think
that Chargers front is literally built to slow down Mahomes.
You can try to stop Mahomes. You can build your roster however you want. You can get all pros at every position. It's going to be hard to stop Mahomes.
Okay.
Stop clowning your MVP pick.
Hey, MVP's had bad games. Rodgers lost to Saints week 1 last year.
I remember that game. Everybody wanted to trade Rodgers off for.
He lost 31-10 against the Bucks. The year before.
Rodgers was a fraud MVP, but we can move on.
Whoa. I think we should really unpack that later here.
I think Brady should have won MVP last year, but that's just me. But we can move on.
Well, you're not going to hear Tom argue on that one, right?
I'm a Brady fan. I don't think Brady should have won MVP last year.
Oh, damn. Okay. Never mind. Then he will argue on you now. So, but, well, all right. I'm going to move on to the next one. Let's see what happens here. Next category is the wide receiver category. We have Juju Smith-Shuster going up against. As of a few days ago, I don't know, Keenan Allen was ruled out as wide receiver number 1. So wide receiver number 2, taking up the high. Mike Williams stepping in, taking the brunt of it. See how he fares out. So my question to you guys is, this is a very simple one. This is not like no stats required on this one. What happens first? Who gets the 10 receiving touchdowns first? And I think y'all know the score. Well, here's the averages right there. Juju Smith-Schuster. I didn't count the seasons. I mean, obviously he was out last season after game 5. So this is only in the games he's played, 0.40 for his career. And Mike Williams averaging a little less at 0.35 for his career. And I think I have the games as well. We already know the games that they're playing against. So, those are the numbers. And Mike Williams stepping up right now. So he should be the main target tonight as well. So what do you guys think?
Well, so first of all, I think you need some more games on there because I don't think they're going to hit 10 touchdowns in this time these 5 games. But
the first 5, yeah, for sure.
I think Keenan Allen's going to be back because he's not out for the season or anything like that, is he?
Who's that, Keenan? No, I think he's ruled out. It said 2 weeks. He should be back by game 3. So
I think when C comes back, that's going to slow it down a little bit for Mike Williams. So, and I think Juju, now that he's playing with Mahomes, first of all, number 1 receiver is not Juju. It's Travis Kelce, but we'll just.
Yes, that's fair. Yes. For sure. The offense for sure runs through him. Yes, absolutely.
But I got to go with Juju. I think Mahomes is gonna throw plenty of touchdowns. This is assuming Juju can hold on to a football and not fumble it multiple times like he did last week. But
oh man, shots fired! Comeback player of the year, buddy. Come back
for you,
yeah, that's right. That's all I got. That's all I got for you. But yeah, I mean, Mahomes. Hopefully, you can get that. Yeah, just share the field with Travis Kelce and see what happens.
I guess I'll go next then. I don't know. I don't think this might be a hot take. I don't know. I don't even know if either of these guys are getting to 10 touchdowns this season.
They are.
I'll put it this way. So my thing with Juju, he is going to get touchdowns. 10 is a lot for a receiver, and he's not going to be their red zone target. We all know Mahomes is going to Kelce every time they get in the red zone. It's what he's always done, and it's what he will continue to do. As for Mike Williams, I think he has the benefit of the fact that, Keenan Allen, for one, is hurt. And even when Keenan Allen comes back, Mike Williams is still the big red zone threat there. So I think I'm gonna switch it up and disagree with Tom on this, and I'm gonna go with Mike Williams. Right. I don't know. I don't know if either are going to get to 10, but I think Mike Williams is more likely. I think he's more of the red zone target, and that's where you're going to get the bulk of the touchdowns as a receiver.
Fair enough. I disagree with Jarrett on this. I'm going to go with my comeback player of the year. I can't say he's going to be comeback player and say he can't make it to 10 receiving touchdowns. So I think if he gets to work in, if he gets to share the field a little bit with Travis Kelce, get in there. And
hopefully he's going to get 9 and retire.
Yeah, that would be. Well, no, after 5 seasons, that would be sad. I would cry.
He's going to start a TikTok career. Don't worry about it.
If he starts doing that, I officially take him off my list for comeback player of the year.
Nope, too late.
I can't have another player drop off my list again, but I will. I'll do it if he does TikToks. I think it should be interesting to figure out how he plays out and go from there. But I think what brings us to our next game right here, which is a nice game. We have obviously we've been talking about it a little bit. Kansas City versus Chargers. I almost said San Diego Chargers, but LA Chargers. Weekly picks recap. Sorry, guys. All of us here at Cool Sports Guy, we're 8-7-1.
Stupid Texans.
It's not bad, guys. I mean, like we have a winning record right now so far, as a whole, as a team. How does it make you feel?
I don't know.
I don't want the same record as you guys.
No,
I don't know. I'm less concerned of the fact that I have the same record as y'all. It's more so I feel like that's a very bad record for a prediction. I don't know. I just feel like that's bad regardless.
Yeah, having 7 losses. I mean, I get it. It's week 1. Things go sideways.
We predicted basically half of the games right. That is it. I feel like that's rough.
Well, just hear me out, okay? So let's say Denver actually wins a game. That's 9-7 right there. Denver should have won that game, right? We all picked Denver. Besides that bad play calling, that's 9-6. Texans win that game because they had a huge lead. You're at 10-5 right there, right? So
no, that cancels out my Denver one because you're the only one that picked the Texans.
I'm just talking for myself here, okay? So.
Yeah, but you could say those hypotheticals for every team if you know.
Yeah, I'm just saying, there's some stuff that happened that it could have been a good week.
Didn't turn the ball over 4 times.
There you go. I mean,
Randy Bullock knows how to kick a football.
Did we also all pick the Rams? No, we all picked the Bills, and somebody.
I'm the only one who picked the Rams. Sadly, I don't know.
So
how that happened.
It's not too bad. So I mean, it's good stuff, And yours would have been worse than Jared. I mean, yours would have stayed worse, and ours stayed good. Just saying, a lot of stuff happened that maybe changes the outcome a little bit. I'm just looking at the bright side of life, and we can make it up this week when we look at the Thursday night picks for this game. Who's going to go first? Let's go with Tom. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your team and who you picked tonight?
I think my MVP is going to win it.
Oh, you going with Justin Herbert?
I think the Chiefs are going to win it. Look, it's going to be a tough matchup, and I don't know if it's going to be a crazy shootout, but I think it will be a close game. I want to say more like a 31-28 kind of range in the scoring. That defense, look, the Chargers defense front is going to go after Mahomes and hope for the best. That's what's going to happen. And I think they will eventually get to him a couple of times as well. And I think the most trouble any team in the division has given Kansas City in recent years is the Chargers. Last 2 meets in Kansas City. That's where the game is this week, right?
Correct.
Yep. I believe the Chargers have actually won the game. Or is it the other way around? Maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. One of those. But they are 2-2 in the last 4 meets against Kansas City. I think it could be a pretty tough matchup for them, but I think at the end of the day, Kansas City is going to pull it off, and they'll come off. They'll come off with the win.
Not bad. Let's see here. I am trying to make it switch over to Jarrett. What do you have for your
I
picks
just want to say one thing. How come whenever I said it was going to be a shootout, you're like, oh, it probably won't be because the Chargers are built to stop the Chiefs and Mahomes, and you pick the Chiefs anyways?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a crazy shootout in a way because
if it's not a shootout and it's a defensive game, the Chargers' defense is so much better than Kansas City. Kansas City only wins this if it's a shootout.
But you make it sound like it's either a defensive game or a shootout. It could be defense steps in and stops you from making it a 45-44 game.
No, I'm thinking both teams score 30 plus. That's my prediction. But we can agree to disagree. Okay. That's fine. You don't need to rant too much about this. With that being said, I actually do agree with Tom, and I'm going with the Chiefs in this one. I know the Chargers are my Super Bowl pick, but losing Keenan Allen, I know he's not a big red zone threat, but he is a good receiver that opens up the field for the Chargers offense. Missing him might hurt a little bit. The Chiefs have some injuries as well, like with their kicker, their rookie cornerback, Trent McDuffie is out for the game as well. But I feel like those pieces mean a lot less than Keenan Allen does. So I do have the Chiefs winning this one. And like I said, I think it's going to be a shootout. And hopefully it's a better game than last week it was. So there's that.
Let me start off with two points and building off of what Tom said. The Chargers defense can make this a closer game. I don't think that's going to be a shootout because of that. I think I was looking at the rankings, and Chargers defense is ranked number 4 right now, or at least in the top 5. So I think that would make it a little bit of a closer game. I think if anybody's built for it, this would be the game that maybe somebody can contain Patrick Mahomes. And secondly, are you telling me that kickers don't matter, sir, Jarrett?
I'm not saying that. I'm a kicker enthusiast. I'm just saying when it comes to this game, I don't think either – how I'm viewing it, again, I think it's a shootout. I don't think the kickers are going to kick many field goals, so I don't think that it's going to be that big of a deal.
No, I only said one field goal.
You what?
I predicted basically one field goal.
Oh, I'm not taking shots at you. I'm just saying kickers aren't going to matter in this game because I think it's a shootout.
You know what? You're right. I'm going to take back my comment because you're right. I don't think kickers are going to make the difference in this game.
I love kickers. I feel like kickers deserve more respect, but I'm just saying in this game, I don't think it'll be a big deal.
Watch one of these teams lose by a missed field goal.
Listen, if that happens,
your mouth.
if the Chiefs lose because their replacement kicker misses a field goal, then we can shun me the entire next recording. Okay?
Can you imagine the headlines around the world? Kicker misses the game-winning kick.
I mean,
we
see that like every single
again.
Game.
Yeah. I
mean, my jinx is whenever I predict someone to do good. That's whenever I jinx people.
Well, you just said it's going to be a shootout with Kansas City winning.
It's going to be a 3-0 game with the Chargers winning.
Fair enough.
3-0. Whoa, that would be sweet. Okay, never mind. Let me spin the wheel real quick. Hang on a second. Let it spin. You see it spinning?
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
Jackpot, baby. Kansas City takes it for all the reasons y'all just said. I mean, obviously, Mahomes looking hot right now after that first week. I don't see him slowing down. I think it'll be a closer game, but I'm not good at predicting scores because anything can happen. I'm not as good as you guys. But I do think they have a little advantage right there. And they're playing Arrowhead. I mean, that's at least 3 points. What a kicker does. No? Nothing? Okay. Just letting y'all know. So it'd be a really cool, fun night, hopefully. But leaves us a little bit of time. Usually at this point, I talk about our socials. Make sure you guys are following, subscribing, all that cool stuff at Cool Sports Guy on Twitter, the Cool Sports Guy on Instagram, and Facebook, Cool Sports Guy, and as well as YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hey, what do you guys say we look back at last week and see how our players are doing for our Thursday night thinkers?
I'm intrigued. I think our running backs won't be that much to talk about, but the rest of them should be pretty entertaining.
This will be a really great time for story time. Here we go. On the next Thursday night update, Matthew Stafford needed 1,481 yards to surpass John Elway. He was averaging 274 per game, and Josh Allen needed 1,244 to surpass Mark Sanchez, and he's averaging 231 a game. So as you see, Matt Stafford 240, Josh Allen 297. I think you're the closer one right now, though, Jarrett. So you're not too bad. I think.
Did I really pick Matthew Stafford?
I believe so. I watched the video of. Maybe I'm wrong. If not, I'll take your.
I don't know. I really don't remember who I picked.
I didn't remember who I picked for the quarterback win either, but I saw Josh Allen and I was like, he did way better, so let's take it.
Yours are easy to remember, Jared.
You may have switched us there.
Because I what?
Wait, didn't you pick all last week? It was. Wait, I thought you picked all LA, didn't you?
Did I mess this up? I don't know.
Did I mess it up?
I don't. We'll I don't know if there's a quicker way to look at that.
It's all right. We'll figure it out later.
You know
They're not there yet, so we'll correct it next week.
I know all of the other ones I picked LA, but I could see myself picking Josh Allen because he's my MVP pick.
Fair enough. Maybe I wrote it wrong. If not, I apologize. But I do know I picked Matt Stafford. That's for sure. I did go with because I had John Stafford on there, really smug and everything. For our running backs, as Jared was alluding to, zeros down the line. But just for a little checkup right now, Devin Singletary did indeed rush for 48 yards on 8 attempts. So he's a little bit closer to his average per game, and a little bit closer to surpassing Ron Dane on his total.
Cam Akers had 0 yards.
0.
I think he had
like 4 attempts, I think it was.
I thought he had, honestly, all I remember him was getting negative yards rushing, like running backwards and stuff. So at least he got up to the line at some point. I don't know. My brother-in-law came and watched the game with me and started him in fantasy, so that was kind of funny.
Oof, that hurts, yeah. I mean, it's
my cousin did that. After I told him he's good, I feel bad.
I mean, it's sometimes it's kind of be that way, But not too shabby. Let's see what happened with our wide receiver, Stephon Diggs. 1,027 yards needed. He averages 71, and he kind of surpassed that, as well as Cooper Kupp, needing 1,052 yards to surpass Heath Miller, averaging 77 a game, and he also surpassed. I think I got your picks right on this one, right? Cooper Kupp?
I definitely pick Kupp. Anytime there's a Kupp debate, I'm picking Kupp.
I think I went with Kupp as well.
I mean, Stephon Diggs looked amazing as well, so I don't want to, I know he got less yards, but come on, guys. It's pretty great, pretty cool game right there. And the shocker to shock them all, Mr. Von Miller just came out of nowhere. What y'all think about that performance? Blast from the past, just killing it out there.
I was honestly Von Miller is a very good football player. Do not get me wrong, but I was also surprised that he even though the plays he didn't get sacks, he was in the backfield so much.
Mm-hmm.
And Von Miller is known for an end of the season guy, not as much a beginning of the season. But 2 sacks week 1 is quite impressive.
Oh yeah.
I will say also with Aaron Donald, he should get 1.5 sacks. I think he was robbed. I'm just going to say that as well.
I mean, I would love that. He's my defensive lineman on my fantasy football squad. So for sure, I would like more sacks on there. So what about you, Tom? What do you think about this?
I feel good about my pick. I mean, look, it's only 2-0. It's only 1 more sack. He's still technically behind Aaron Donald because at this point, Donald only needs 4 more sacks.
Mm-hmm.
Von Miller needs 4.5. Again, I'm just going to go off of who all they're playing. And I think there's a higher chance of Von Miller being able to hit down all the QBs he's playing rather than Aaron Donald. So,
be pretty good. I mean, if he does the same thing every game, he's there in 2 more games, right? 3 more games?
Something like that. 2
sacks per game, yeah. Because that's the 6.5 is not including what he did right now. So it should be pretty fun. We have a little bit of spare time. I don't know if Jared, you're up for talking about offensive guards. Does that topic interest you? Anything?
Yes. I was not prepared, so let me look up the exact number real quick.
Perfectly fine. I totally get it.
While he's doing that, I looked over our weekly picks because we're obviously gonna go through and post that in a bit for week 2. Jose, how do you have the Denver Broncos winning the Super Bowl? Sorry to surprise or ruin this for everybody, but losing to the Texans.
You saw that, huh? Okay, so
everybody's gonna see that.
I wanted to.
It's not a secret.
Here's what I think happens. They go 0-2, right, and then they have like a amazing 15 game win streak, getting all the way to the Super Bowl. And I think the Texans actually win a game. I think this is the only shot they're going to have to be able to beat the Broncos after that, disaster of a game. I think if any time they had a chance. Thanks for calling me out in the middle of this because I was not prepared to make a statement at this time. Also, I just picked one. I picked a few underdogs along the way. I figured that one was a pretty big underdog too. So, yes, I realize how funny that pick is. But if it comes true,
in his defense, underdogs are usually the reason our picks aren't like 100%. So who knows? Right. Davis Mills season. But I do have the contract up that I was wanting to talk about with our few extra minutes.
Yes, sir.
If you didn't know, Quentin Nelson, the offensive guard for the Indianapolis Colts, just signed a new contract. Right. It is 4 years worth $80 million with $20 million guaranteed, which that is $20 million per year for an offensive guard, which I get. Quentin Nelson, like probably the best offensive guard in football, but that's not like a premier position. And I feel like as good as he is, like it doesn't matter. I feel like that's an overpay. And I was just curious what y'all thought about it.
I mean, O-line work, if he's doing well enough for that, I say pay the man. Like if you're going to try to keep, this is a Colts guard, right?
Colts guard, yes.
You got to keep Matt Ryan on his feet. So, I mean, and that's an important one. Is he left guard or right guard? I didn't look at my research.
Left guard.
So I think it's highly important. Left guard, left tackle.
The blind side.
See, but my thing is
that's the blind side. That's
the blind side is mostly known for the left tackle. But what I will say,
but you
like the premier positions that make that kind of money, quarterbacks, edge rushers, and as of late, wide receivers are getting paid that much too, which I still think is a little bizarre. Oh, yeah. And left tackles. Left tackles have made that money, and I'd be fine with a left tackle, like Trent Williams making like $20 million a year. That makes sense. I don't know. I feel like interior linemen, again, I'm not discrediting Quentin Nelson. He is probably the best offensive guard in football and is an elite player. But $20 million for an offensive guard, I feel like screws up the market, and I feel like that like kind of puts the team in cap hell for an offensive guard, and I feel like that's not great for team building.
I'd love to see what the average guard makes. I don't know if you have those. Can you pull those stats up for me?
I can. I can. If you want.
Do know that?
Here's the thing. First of all, when we say, hey, that screws up the market for guards, I don't think that's necessarily entirely true. And here's why. Do you remember the time where every single team started overpaying the crap out of their running backs? And then it was like, oh, the market for running backs is the highest thing in the world. Running backs are going to get paid. It lasted like 2.5 years.
Yep.
Because running backs started getting hurt, and then teams realized there's no point of putting so much money into running backs. There's all kinds, like you can find running backs literally in any corner. And I would argue the guard is probably a bit more important of a position, especially a left guard, to a quarterback in Matt Ryan, who is not very mobile and who is very good when he is protected. So I think the Colts are seeing the value a bit differently than we're putting it out there. I don't think we should look at it in a sense of, oh, you're really just going to pay a left guard that much money. I think, hey, what value or what is how much help does it get your offense by this one person standing there being able to block somebody on somebody's, when it's a right arm thrower and it's on his left side. 20 million might be an absurd amount of money, but it's also only 20 million guaranteed. So at any point, if he starts to, because either the teams are going to be very successful or they're just gonna cut ties. So
now I will say I'm a big Quentin Nelson fan. He was drafted in 2018, the year we got Roquan Smith, which we got Roquan at pick 8. And going into that draft, I was like, I mean, I know offensive linemen aren't the flashy picks. You never want your team to go that direction. But going into that draft, I'm like, I want Quentin Nelson. He's my favorite player in this draft. So I'm not discrediting him. And I will say, I think if there is any offensive guard that is worthy of that kind of a cap hit, I think it would be him. I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's just not a normal thing yet for them to get over that 20 million mark. I'm just not used to it. I'm not sure, but it's just bizarre. I do have the numbers pulled up really quickly for the other guys. The next highest paid, it's not separated from left and right guards, it's just guard as a whole, is Brandon Sheriff from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Their free agent signing this offseason at $16.5 million per year.
Okay.
Joel Bitonio's at third for the Browns with $16 million. Joe Thuney for the Chiefs, $16 million, and then fifth Wyatt Teller, $14.2 million for the Cleveland Browns.
So then the question is the best worth $4 million more?
Yeah. Which I will say, looking at them now, the numbers, $4 million, I don't think is that much of a thing to stress out. I don't know. I just feel like 20 million is kind of like that bar you get for like the premier positions, and I feel like he is not at one of those positions. I don't think it's like a bad move that's going to like screw them for years or anything. I just think, I don't know, 20 million for an offensive guard is frightening to me.
And I don't know about the previous game. It seemed like the right side was getting in a little more. Jerry Hughes came in for the Texans, got the strip sack. I think he got the interception as well. It was on the right side. So, I mean, that side, the left side, left guard, left tackle, they were doing their jobs, it seemed. I could be mistaken, but it seemed like more of the pressure was on the other side of the ball. So maybe that might be paying dividends and got him into position to get that tie against the Texans. Who knows?
Which Quentin Nelson, I think, is honestly, I won't even say guard. I think Quentin Nelson's the best offensive lineman in football. He is excellent at everything he does. So I will say he is like deserving of it, but again, not a premier position, and it's just not a normal thing. I don't know. I just wanted to talk about it real quick, get your guys' points of view.
Paying absurd amount of money to wide receiver used to not be a normal thing.
That is also
Markets
fair.
change, man.
Which I'm still weird about paying wide receivers that much. That's insane to me, but
that's a great point. As Tom was saying, like the market changing and everything. And then most recently this year too. Like, I mean, we have Deshaun getting that insane amount of money. Thought you could screw up the market, and then Russell Wilson gets less than that. So I mean, like at that point, I think Russell Wilson has earned his keep. I think he should have gotten more, but it didn't really screw up the market when you have a team that's like.
Anyway, I was going to say, sorry, I was just going to say the Browns are just kind of dumb. Watson doesn't deserve that money, and that is a move. This one, I don't think could screw them up regardless of how bad Quentin Nelson becomes, but Deshaun Watson in no way, shape, or form deserved that much money, and I'm just going to leave that there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can go either way, yeah. Tom, you want to try to come back? Tom, can you try to come back to us? Tom, come back. Try it.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah,
I just thought if your mic was working good.
No.
Sorry. Okay. How about this, Tom? I want to see if he has any last thoughts before we. Can you hear me? Any last thoughts? He's going to tell us. He says
the technical difficulties are always
poor
fun.
guy. We'll be sure to have this resolved by next week, I'm sure. Oh, you can hear us. Great. Well, Tom, it's great to have you on. And I know just in spirit right now. Jerry, any final thoughts before we head out?
Not that I can think of. I just want I want a good Thursday night game. Last week wasn't great, but I'm hoping this one's a lot better.
Sounds like I agree. I don't want it to be a blowout either. Tom, what do you think? No final thoughts. Game gonna end on a missed field goal. Yeah, that's how about sums it up right there. Sounds good. Yeah, guys, we're about to head into the game right now. 7. It should be playing here in a few minutes. Game time kickoff is 7:15, correct?
Yes.
So we'll go into that, and be sure to tune in tomorrow when Tom and Jared have our weekly picks, and hopefully we do a lot better than last week. And then see you guys next time on Cool Sports Guy. And